I'm going to call the meeting of the March the 19th, 2013 Social Service Board meeting to order. And at this time, let's bow in prayer. Our Lord Father, we thank you for this beautiful day, dear God. We stand in awe of all of your creation. Dear God, we thank you for the people who are represented here today and their talents, dear God, as they meet the needs of our county. May all that we do today that we do to glorify your name, this we ask in thy name. Amen. Due to a couple of the board members being having some other things to attend to before they get here, we're going to just go through the statistical part of our agenda today. And the first thing I think that we have is the introduction of new staff. It seems like there's some new faces I haven't seen before, so hopefully this means we're full capacity again.
I'm Carrie Head, and I'm one of the supervisors in Child Protective Services, and I want to introduce Kendra Gill today. Kendra is our new Community Social Services Technician in Child Protective Services, and she has a bachelor's degree in social work and graduated from Winston-Salem State University, and we're happy to have her.
And I'm Heather Hunt. I'm a supervisor in Child Protective Services also, and this is my new worker, Sherry Fox, and she's an investigator and family assessor on my team, and she has a master's of social work degree. So
Great.
we're glad she's here also.
Good. We want to welcome you, and we hope that you find enough challenges to keep you here for a long time, and that someday we'll be celebrating your retirement here too. But you stay that long. That's the main thing. We want you to have a career here. Okay. Next, we have unfortunately, the retirement of Miss Carol Church.
Yes, and if Carol and maybe Carol, we have with us today our child support rep from the state, Carol Allen. Kind of bittersweet. We're excited for Carol Church and sad to lose her too. Carol has worked with the agency since January of 1997, 16 years. She started with us as an income maintenance caseworker and then transferred to or was promoted to a child support agent position in January of 2001, and then she became the lead agent April of 2008. And she is retiring. Her last day is
March the 28th.
Okay, so she's all but gone. And I'm sure Carol, this is Carol Allen. Carol, do you want to say something about Carol? Would you like to step up and?
Yes, I would. It's very bittersweet for me because Alexander County is one of my shining stars, my counties, and it's been that way in large part due to Carol Church and the work that she has done. I don't ever have to worry about was anything kind of looked over? Was it kind of any numbers crunched or anything? Because it's in black and white, and what's in the system is what was true. And I always trust Carol for that. And she makes sure that that's what happens with her workers too. So it's real bittersweet for me for her to be leaving. So.
We appreciate you coming so much, and we have a little poem. We have a little something for Carol today. She has a retirement celebration coming up, but it says, "As this chapter closes in your life and a new one starts for you, may your years be filled with all the things you're looking forward to. Retirement is a time to look back with satisfaction and a time to look ahead with anticipation, a time to fill each and every day with enjoyment, a very special time for you and only you. Retiring is not how we would actually describe what you are doing. We have a feeling that it is the beginning of yet another exciting chapter in your life. Whatever retirement means to you, may it bring greater personal fulfillment than you ever thought possible. And those are little poems by anonymous authors, and we framed it up real pretty for her.
Thank you, Cindy.
Congratulations,
Thank you,
Carol.
honey. Oh, thank you.
You want to say something?
I would like to thank Social Services for giving me an opportunity that I never thought I could do. But it has been a learning experience for me, and I have loved child support. That's my niche. I have really found my place. And everybody has really been good to me, all of Social Services, the staff. And I'm not leaving my family because they're not going to get rid of me. And I want to thank the board for all the support that you give the agency, because it really means a lot to everyone that works so hard to provide services for the community. Thank you.
On behalf of the board, I want to thank you too, because I know you have many talents and you've used them, but it takes dedication to make a difference, and you've made a difference. And I just want you to know we appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you.
Financial report, Ms. Sherry Deal.
Good afternoon. If you'll look, you have February's financials in front of you. We are 8 months, or approximately 67% of our fiscal year gone. If you look over to the right-hand side of your page, the percentages related to expenses, one that I want to make notation of is the general assistance, and that is showing 77% spent, which is above where we are in the fiscal year. This is due to a couple of things. One, our LEAP allocation for the year has been expended, and so because that has been expended, as well as most of our SIP allocation, I don't know if Matthew later on will have an exact amount of what we have left, but that is the reason that that particular category is a little bit higher. Most of our revenues are in line with where they should be, and if you'll note, the total of expenses percentage-wise, we're at 61.5%, revenues 64%. And if you look down at the bottom of your page, we have spent year-to-date $1,110,437. If you prorate that over the 8 months that we have passed, that's approximately $138,000 a month that we've spent. With the remainder of money we have left, that will prorate over 4 months of a little over $215,000. So even though that shows that we're in really good shape, usually this time of the year, most of our allocations have been spent, and it turns more over to county dollars. So even though it looks really good now, and we hope it still looks good, that number won't be as pretty come June. And I'll take any questions if you have any.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay. Now we'll have our statistical report highlights from the supervisors.
Good afternoon. I'm Matt Reese, one of the Economic Services Supervisors. If I can draw your attention to page 1 of the statistical report, at last month's meeting I had reported out to you all that I would be putting data on here in regards to the food and nutrition benefits. Myself and along with Cindy, we have done some research into the reports, and the reports that we have the availability to are not accurately reflecting what we feel to be at this present time. I've spoken with several supervisors in surrounding counties. They report the same issues. Cindy has spoken to numerous directors at different meetings that she has attended, and they all reflect the same thing. So at this present time, we do not feel in presenting data to the board that we feel is not accurately reflected upon what is actually occurring. But what I do want to report out to you is how the staff, the morale, the implementation of the system, it continues to be a growing experience each day for the staff. I have seen them blossom and thrive in teamwork and trying to pull together to try to help better the families that we serve day in and day out. Cindy and myself have reported to you that we have 2 part-time employees who are full-time employed by Catawba County. They have helped out tremendously to keep the current caseload that is vacant up to date, to keep it from flowing down into my regular staff who are already, consumed, with the applications, the recertifications. To our knowledge, at this present time, we have been very fortunate to not have any complaints from the general public that have made it to the level of our commissioners. Now, I will admit, I've had several, complaints, those kind of things that have come to me, questions about benefits, those kind of things. But it's nothing that myself and my staff that we haven't been able to get addressed and get attained, for those particular clients. We try to educate the clientele, as much as we can, that with this new computer system, we're trying to process and get, new applications where individuals may not have access to benefits, trying to get them processed as promptly as we can. On the other spectrum, the recertifications, making sure that clients that turn their recertifications in timely, that they get their benefits on their card by the date that they're due. So if the general public is watching this meeting today, we strongly encourage anyone that has a recertification in the FNS program, make sure you get that turned in, on time by the deadline date so that we can get your case, processed and get it expedited as fast as we can. Like I said, the morale of the unit, these past couple of days, it's been great, other than just some random slowness with the system. But we are pleased to announce that all 100 counties are on NC Fast Project 1, which is the FNS piece. The last 2 was Mecklenburg and Forsyth, and they went on this past weekend. So, Cindy, is there anything else that you can?
I can't think of, I do want to say that Matthew and his staff have done everything that they can to make the public aware of the transition that we're going through. They have really long messages on their answering machines that say that it may take longer than usual to respond to your call or to process your case. And please be patient with us as we move through this transition. And I did want to say about this, I've really challenged Matthew about these numbers that are not on our report, but because I was really concerned about you as a board feeling uncomfortable that we've gone this many months. But I will tell you that we don't feel comfortable reporting. I think there was a difference in like $200,000 worth of benefits. There was a difference in what we had going out before and what is showing up in the NC Fast system. And we know that there are no less benefits going out and no less clients on the service. So we do not want to report out to you until we can explain what is the difference in those numbers. And we've been reporting for years, so we don't feel like the old system was incorrect. So, and Matthew's done everything he could to get a hold of that information, and I have too.
And Cindy has as
Straight up the
well.
line.
Yeah. And I don't know that challenge might be a word. It's every month I'm emailing her, Cindy.
Careful now.
It's not reflecting what we need it to. She said, well, get with somebody or send up this or send up that. So, but she and I both, we have tried. They do send out each month a status as far as like potential recertifications and applications. And I'd be more than happy to. I didn't think anything about it until I just got here. I can make you guys a copy and do it the next time. But in February, applications that was processed in NC Fast, our agency processed 119. Recertifications for the month of February, we had a potential of 384 recertifications for the month. They send this out to us along with all of the other counties just to let them know. It's sort of kind of a benchmark for counties that were converting over, that were going from FIAs to NC Fast, to just let them know at what percentages they were performing at and getting information out of the old into the new. But that's pretty much all I have on that. The other thing that Sherry Deal had mentioned was about the SIP program. I do not have the exact dollar amount of what we have left, but it is roughly right around $8,000. I don't have the specifics on that, but that is, at last, whenever I spoke earlier this morning with my energy worker, that was what she had made mention to me. So we are getting down close. At this time, I'll be glad to answer any questions. All right. Thank you.
If you look at page 2 on child support, I'll make my last report. The one thing that I would like to, for you to look at is the new orders. Since July, we have established 116 new child support orders. And that is very good for a small agency. We have 3 agents and 1 office assistant. And so we continue to work very hard each and every day to enforce these orders once we get them established. And I would like to thank my child support team. They're a good team and they're very hard-working people. Any questions?
Thank you.
I'm Julie Sebastian. I'm the Adult Services Supervisor, and if you'll look on page 3 of your statistical report, a few things I just want to make a comment on. Our home care community block grant, we are spending right at target, some areas a little bit above, except for our housing, and we are waiting on some invoices to be finalized from our contractor. There is still a need there in home aid level 1 that we provide. We have a waiting list of 113. Housing and home improvement, waiting list for 16. And our home delivered meals waiting list of 15. Our numbers for adult protective services are about the same average of 13 that we're receiving on page 4 of your statistical report. Anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Holly Yongue, the Children's Services Program Manager. If you will look on page 5 of your statistical report, just to highlight a couple areas for the month of February, we did receive 89 reports in the month of February. 60 of those reports were accepted for an investigation or assessment. We had 59 investigations open on the last day of the month, and 34 in-home services cases open on the last day of the month. If you'll look in the next block under that, you will also see, well, let me go back up for just a second. If you will look at this number, 25 assists to other counties, those are also cases that our investigators or in-home workers and sometimes foster care staff also have to work and go out and see families on. So that number is pretty high. 25 is a caseload and a half, or 2 caseloads and a half for a worker, just that number alone. I'm sorry, that's actually the number we requested from other counties. We actually provided 9, but we actually requested 25 assists, meaning that we have family members of children in other counties that we need to make contact with, and they're asking other counties to go out and see either children or parents in other counties to help us in our cases. And so that is a pretty high number for us. We don't usually request that many, but that number kind of jumped out at me. We currently, as of the end of February, had 52 children in foster care. The number to date is actually 57, bringing 5 children into our custody last week. And most of those children, as you can see, are placed in licensed foster homes and kinship placements. We do continue to see a number of children entering our custody with very high-level mental health needs, which is concerning to us. It is concerning to the LME, the local managing entity, Smoky Mountain Center, and we've had some conversations about that and are engaging them in how we can better serve these children. And there's also some conversation going on at the state level because of the number of children needing those high-level mental health placements. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. about those areas. Okay, thank you.
I'm going to talk about the adoption numbers. It's the bottom of page 5 as well. In February, there were 5 children legally freed for adoption. And then on page 6, the foster home piece, our foster home and adoptions worker is out on maternity leave, so we've been working hard to fill in while she's out. But I will say we did complete one new application for a new foster home in our county. And just real quickly, I would like to mention that there's going to be a new class beginning in April for foster home licensing. So if anyone's interested, they can call our agency and get more information about that. But there is a great need for more foster homes in our county.
How do you
Thank
get
you.
that information out? I mean,
Well, we are working now to publicize, but I know that they are putting out signs throughout the county about that. We keep a running log in our agency of people who call and ask questions, so we can call and remind them that this class is getting ready to start. Usually they do some public service announcements and different things to get the information out. Sometimes there's things in the paper, but if anybody has any questions or wants more information, they can call our agency.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Carrie.
A nice big testimonial from a foster parent in the paper might help a little bit. We might want to work on that.
Okay, we're going to back up and do the approval of the agenda for today. Have a motion to approve our agenda that's presented before us today.
So
We can
moved.
Take action on it. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it's approved. Also in your package, you have the minutes from the February 9th, 2013 meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
Move to approve as presented.
I have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And it's approved. Okay, then we'll move along. The next item on our agenda this evening is the program. It's a Social Worker Appreciation Month.
Well, good afternoon again, and I think you will notice that there is quite a large crowd in the room compared to most meetings that we have when it's typically the board and the management team and sometimes a few staff members, but we did invite all of our social work staff to attend this meeting today in honor of National Social Work Appreciation Month. And just to say a little bit about that, the theme this year set by the National Association of Social Workers is Weaving Resilience and Advocacy. The Power of Social Work is the theme for this year's Social Work Month. And to say a little bit about that, social work is a profession of hope that is fueled by resilience and advocacy. Social workers matter because they help millions of struggling people every day dream differently. There are more than 650,000 professional social workers in the United States, and it is one of the largest growing professions in the United States. Those social workers have the daunting task of helping folks who are in crisis and tragic type situations. Our goal as an agency of social workers, the folks who carry that title, is to make sure that all the citizens of this community have a safe place to live and their basic needs are met. And although we're recognizing folks who have a job title of social worker, I think many of our staff would say that we view most of the people that work in our agency as social workers, whether they have that title or not. But this month, we are just officially recognizing those folks who actually are degreed or carry that title as their working profession. In our agency, of course, social workers are divided into two areas of the building, into child protective services and also in adult protective services. Of course, you know what both of those areas do. The supervisors are going to come up and introduce their staff, some of which are here, some are not, and they'll tell you how many years of service they have provided. But I also just wanted to mention as well that the work that we do on a day-to-day basis, whether we're in the field or managing staff, requires us to provide a high level of service to people with high-level needs. We value social justice and making sure that everybody has equal access to services and to help folks locate those resources they need in the community or sometimes outside of the community. It's important that we preserve folks' dignity and self-worth and help them to build that up so they can become self-sufficient and don't have to rely on public assistance, but use that as an emergency go-to when needed, and encourage families to seek out those services when they need them, because many people are proud and don't really ever think about having to come in, and we see more and more of those people engaged in our services who never thought they would be involved in public assistance or with the Department of Social Services, a lot of that due to economic situations and the turn in the job market and those kind of things. We've seen more and more families engaged even in child welfare who are new to our agency, having just a volume of new cases. Also, the importance of human relationships and building relationships with people. When you work in this field long enough, and sometimes long enough is 6 months, you have folks that you work with that you might be the only person they can pick up the phone and call and talk to. They may not have an extended family support network, and you may be the person that they turn to when they're in a time of need. Our staff have a high level of integrity. They're very trustworthy. They are entrusted with some of the most confidential information in the agency, and they treat that information very carefully and protect it with all they have to be sure that families' dignity and integrity is always protected. They do a great job. We have a wonderful staff of people. We are doing everything we can to take care of them and keep them with us. I have one of the best staffs that I've worked with in a long time. I have a full staff. I'm very excited about that. They are such wonderful people, but really just want you to meet them, hear what they do, be able to put a name with a face, and just hear how many years of experience when we add all of our folks up that we have to bring to this county, and the ability to be able to help families to be safe and meet those needs that they have. Thank you.
Okay, I supervise 5 social workers, Stephanie Brown and Lucy Robinson. Lucy has 4 months of experience, and she and Stephanie's not here, Stephanie's sick, but she and Stephanie both do investigations and assessments. Debbie Lindley is an in-home case manager who provides services to families beyond the point of investigations, and Debbie has 12 years of social work experience. And Laura Shepard is a foster care social worker, and she has 1 year experience as a social worker. And the other social worker isn't here either. She's at home on maternity leave, but that is Tennille Holman, and she does our foster home licensing, adoptions, and also the LINKS program for children who have aged out of foster care or who are in foster care as a teenager. So that is my team of social workers.
Okay, I have, I have 6 social workers on my team, and Jessie Barriger, she is a case manager, and she has 7 months of experience, and Betsy Walker, she's also a case manager. She has 12 years of experience, 5 with Alexander County. And then I have Sherry Fox. She is an investigator and assessor. She has 17 years of experience. And I also have Adolph Gordon. He's an investigator assessor also, but he's not here today, but he has 21 years of experience. And then I have Liz Metz. She is the on-call social worker for our agency, and she has 24 years of experience. And I'm also going to introduce Kristen Eichard's team because she couldn't be here today. And Michael White, he's our intake worker. He's not here, but he has 8 years of experience. And then we have Kristen Valles. She's an investigator assessor. She has 7 months of experience. And then we have Whitney Briggs. She's a case manager. She's not here today. She's out of town with a foster child. She has 3 years of experience. And then Reggie Imes, I think he actually had the day off. He's the foster care worker on her team, and he has 1 year of experience.
Okay. And for adult services, I supervise 6 social workers. Jean Stafford, she has been with the agency 15 years. She is a CAP case manager, which stands for Community Alternatives Program. Todd Abernathy, he has been with the agency 4 years, and he has several hats: guardianship, adult home specialist, adult protective services, outreach, representative payee, housing and home improvement, managing the SSBG funding for daycare placement, and at-risk case management. Brent Davis, he has been around a while, 23 years of service for Alexander County. He is a CAP case manager as well. Ruthie Smith, she has been with us at the agency 7 years. She's also a CAP case manager. Susan Tigg, she has been with us 9 years with the county and a total of 18 years of a social worker. She does in-home aid level 1, special assistance in-home program, supervises the in-home aides, home delivered meals, and she is overseeing both congregate nutrition sites. And then Brandy Swain, she is actually on intake today, so she's not with us, but she's been a social worker 7 years. She does the same roles as Todd does. She also monitors the adult daycare, and she's been with the agency 1 year. So, in looking at the calculation, counting supervisors and also Cindy, Cindy's been as a social worker director / 24 years. Holly Yongue, 13 years. Carrie Head, 10 years. Heather Hunt, 13 years. Kristen Eichard, 10 years. And myself, 10 years, which totals to 263 years. So let's just give them a round of applause, all their hard work and dedication.
And I do have, I would like for, if all of you, their social workers would stand up for just a minute. It's my day for poems. I wanted to read this to you. This is from Stephanie Griffey, who is a social work student at Lincoln Memorial University, who has obviously had some experiences in her life. She has gone from a personal experience to a professional experience with social work. I just want to read it to you. I did not choose this life or these struggles that I face, and I do not know how I got here to such a vulnerable state. Everyone is quick to judge me, yet they offer no help. Can't they see I'm alone here? I'm doing this by myself. Maybe I've made some mistakes, but I did not ask for this. I don't know how to get out now. These walls are caving in. The world seems so big and the possibilities so small. There's no room to breathe here, no one to catch my fall. So here I stand, no way to cope. I've come to you, my last source of hope. Please tell me you have an answer to end the hunger and the pain. Tell me you can help me to finally live again. Is there light at the horizon? Are there brighter days for me? I stand at your mercy. Do you hear this humble plea? Can you feed my children and give them care? Can you give me direction in this world out there? Can you save me from myself and heal me inside? Can you explain this hopelessness I feel inside? Can you take away this anger? Can you throw away this rage? Can you really show me love? Can you erase this hate? Can you explain to me why my body is so frail? How did I get here in an empty cell? Why did he hurt me? The answers are unknown. He took away my innocence. He invaded my soul. I want to live. I don't want to cry, but I've lost the battle, for inside I've died. I may not be here by choice, but it isn't by chance that you've crossed my path and seen my circumstance. I've tried everything else. There's nothing more I can do. I've made the first step. The rest is up to you. So here I am. Fix me if you can. I give it to you. My life is in your hands.
I personally know what you do, because on a routinely basis, I have someone during the week come in and they're not able to get the services they want from me because their Medicaid's not working properly. And they don't say that I'm going to social services. They name to me the social worker that helps them. And that just tells me that you identify with your clients and they get the kind of care that they need. And I do appreciate each and every one of you, as all of us do. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman?
Whatever.
Vice Chairman.
Just to go on the other end.
I want to tell each one of you, I appreciate what you do. We say it, and I know enough about it, and I've seen a little bit, and I really do appreciate how much you care for individuals who don't have help. And very recently, Cindy and Leanne Whiston and myself, we had the opportunity to meet Dr. Wass, who is the new director of the Division of Health and Human Services. And I'll let Cindy fill you in on her comments, because you need to understand a little bit about where she comes from to understand. I think she'll be good for the agency from the top down, but I may have been set up a little bit in the meeting, because when I walked in, I was told that Dr. Wass had explained that she would see that Alexander County got a building for DSS and Health Department to work together. So I immediately got Dr. Wass and come over and got her over and thanked her for the building they were going to build. And she began to explain to me somebody had misunderstood or had not explained it properly to me. But I did tell her that if she could tell me of any county in North Carolina where DSS and Health Department work any more efficiently than Alexander County's, or where they work together any better than our two departments, I would take off time and take people to go see how that county operates, because I would be very interested in that. And we do appreciate what y'all do. Couldn't do it, not geared to do it, but I certainly appreciate what you do for the young people and the adults in Alexander County. And I stand by what I said. If there's a county in North Carolina where the DSS department and the health department are any more efficient and work together any better than Alexander County, I'll take the time, I'll buy the gas, we'll go see what they're doing so we can get up to that standard. But I don't think there is, and I do appreciate y'all.
I think it takes special and caring people to enter this field and stay in this field, so I very much admire all of you.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll have items from our director.
Okay, I'll get rid of my sniffles now. I did want to talk about, each month I try to update you on agency vacancies, and Holly did say she had a full child welfare staff, but she forgot, she just lost one. We do have a vacancy in child welfare, one in income maintenance, and of course, we are going to have a vacancy in our child support area as of the end of the month. We wanted you to know that Dr. Carson Mosley has been presented to the Social Services Commission as a potential board member, and they did meet last week on Wednesday. So Shelley and I, we challenged them to get us some information, Matthew. You're not the only ones I challenged. But we did try very hard to get the information so we could get him on board by today as an official board member, but we're not able to do so. And I spoke to him today. He has not heard back from them either, but I feel certain.
Cindy, why don't you just write them a letter thanking them for the approval of Dr. Mosley? And
I do imagine.
Would take care of it.
Well, we might try that, Darrell. I imagine we'll probably be busy swearing him in next month. I did want to tell you I heard something very interesting, and I guess I had gotten a little wind of this before this, but the absolute reality of it smacked me in the face a little bit while we were in Raleigh this last week with regard to the EBT cards. The plan is, in the future, for the Work First, the TANF benefits, to actually be on the EBT card in addition to the F&S benefits, and that's food and nutrition services. It would be, and then also for the adult services area, the SA benefits are my understanding that they are going to be on there also. So what does that really mean? And I don't know that I had thought about it until they began to talk about it. But that means that there will be two different, or possibly even three, but probably not Work First and SA benefits, but there will be two benefits on one card where they will go up and swipe at perhaps in the grocery store. A Work First benefit right now is a cash benefit. So it is a check to them. It is their money to use as they need it. I don't know about in your Sunday school class or mine, but they would say right now, well, I saw, someone at the grocery store buying beer with their F&S benefits. And I will quickly say, no, they weren't, because that's not allowable, because that's not something that you can purchase through the F&S program. However, in the future, when there is a cash benefit on that card, I mentioned beer, but dog food could be the same way. People have complaints about these kinds of things. When that is a cash benefit, it will be that same card, and whoever's behind a person in line will not know what service they are using to purchase. So they will be allowed with their cash benefit to purchase whatever they want to with that cash benefit on the EBT card. The directors expressed much concern about that, and I do think that there will be an additional look at this. We were strongly encouraged for our Work First clients to ask them to have their money deposited into an account and put that on their mutual responsibility agreement that they would get a bank account and would put their cash benefits directly into that account. Again, we expressed concerns about things like overdraft fees, what kind of trouble managing a checking account for someone who's never had one before might get them into. So I just kind of wanted you to hear a little bit about this, as this is the future, and as I get more information and we know a little bit more about this. But there will come a time, I believe, when child support benefits also, I think our cards will be multidimensional, and programs with just like we'll be screening through NC Fast for multiple programs, I think our benefit card will be multiple dimensional, multi-program. So I wanted y'all to be aware of this as we embark on this voyage, because there will be concerns and complaints that will come up, as you can imagine, and we have given strong feedback to our partners at the state level. So
It seems like to be more discretion. It'd probably look like a debit card, so how would I know that the person in front of me was using the food stamp voucher?
we did make that suggestion that they take away the
Flag off.
the appearance of the card now, to make it just a one color card so that no one, except maybe the cashier, would know.
I see some positives as well as the negatives with it. The positives-
Absolutely.
The
yeah.
positives to me would be that if I were using that card, that I'd learn to be a responsible shopper, because if I bought something that was a cheaper brand, then I'd go against my money and not against my food stamps, or my, I could see some things would make up, become more responsible too.
Well, we certainly do. I mean, we want to teach our, the folks that we provide services to manage for themselves and to be self-sufficient. And I think a debit card, a card is the way of the future. I don't know about y'all, but I don't have any change in my purse. I use a card everywhere I go. So I think you're correct in that there certainly are some benefits to it. But I wanted you to know about it in case that we do get some complaints. I'm going to skip down and do the budget issues last. There are some bills that are coming up like crazy, and I just want to bring a few of them. I'm going to give you the numbers. Senate Bill 277 is a bill that's up right now, and it is about developing an educational plan for each child in foster care, and it has some very strong language in it about the foster parent being responsible for that educational plan. So the division and the Directors Association has certainly provided feedback about that, and our advocacy committee for the Directors Association will certainly be talking about our responsibility as an agency, DSS. More so, it's certainly not a problem for us, and we would prefer that a foster parent and a social worker go to the table together when an educational plan's being developed for a child. But as is unfortunate, children get moved, and a foster parent, it's a lot to ask for them to be responsible, to be at the school, to develop that plan, to be responsible for monitoring that plan. We want them to be our partners, but DSS, we really want to be in control of making sure that that gets followed up on, no matter where our children are. So that's one bill. Senate Bill 140 has come up, and it's has more ramifications for the adult services arena. It broadens the definition of an elder adult who can be exploited, and makes that a little broader than we think it probably should be. However, there are some real merits to the bill in that it makes it much easier for us to get all their financial records without having to jump through so many hoops. So that's out there also. There's a House Bill 149, which selfishly I'm most concerned about. It's called Kaylee's Law, and it says a director of social services who receives a report of sexual abuse of a juvenile in a child care facility, it does say, and who knowingly fails to notify the SBI pursuant to subsection blah, 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 is guilty of a Class 1 misdemeanor. So we have requested, the Directors Association is going to request that language, I believe, to something instead of who knowingly fails, but who deliberately fails, so that it is a little more prescriptive. And then there's a House Bill 189. It's mostly about the rights of the non-custodial parent to information about a child that's in custody. And we did send up a response basically saying that the non-custodial parent would have the right to request address information with good reason at the court hearing, and the custodial parent would have the right to object with good reason and allow the judge to make a final decision. So that most of that's about address information. But those are bills that are up that certainly do affect us directly. I wanted to make you aware, you got this in your packet, and I hope you saw it. Matthew and I talked about this. It's the first time, I have seen staff try to be given gifts before, especially in the adult services unit. That just, our older folks, they're just so sweet, and they just want to do for their workers. But this was just someone who came in to apply for Medicaid services, and as you see, they wanted to give our worker a nice little gift card, and just were so appreciative. And we, of course, are not allowed to accept gifts, so we had to give it back. But thank them profusely for being so, giving so much recognition to this worker. And we were just really proud of this worker. This worker is fairly new, hasn't been with the agency even a year yet, and just really, proud of the fact, and wanted you to see that our staff are appreciated, not just by us, but also by the community. Okay. Yes, and I would, if you don't mind, let's gather those back in afterwards. We mistakenly, we missed that there's a name in there. The other matter is the only other thing I had today was about the budget, and I did want to begin to prepare. Y'all want for us to take a look after my comments to see if Monday afternoon, April the 8th, at 4 o'clock at our office would be an acceptable time for us to review the budget with you. We think we can get it ready by then, don't we? Hey, what do you think, Sherry?
You have been challenged.
I need a challenger, don't I, Matthew? I did want to make a few preliminary comments for you to be thinking about as we move into this budget process, because I'm sure, Darrell, I'm sure over the years you've heard everything that's possible to be said about this is the most challenging year ever for the budget. Well, I've been here 2 whole years as a director, and this is the most challenging year we've ever had for the budget. Obviously, there are so many unknowns. With the position our state is taking on Medicaid, it's very difficult for us to know how to budget, what kind of growth we might experience. And while Medicaid services, a doctor gets reimbursement to his facility, a prescription is reimbursable. We receive 100% reimbursement for transportation to and from Medicaid visits, those kinds of things. We do not receive 100% reimbursement for administering the program. In this new NC Fast world, we're told that eventually our workers will be able to screen for multiple programs: Medicaid, food and nutrition, child care, child support, Work First. But currently, we have FNS workers working all kinds of hours just trying to keep up. We know that on the other side of automation that we hear and we believe that we'll be able to do a more efficient job. However, right now, in the transition, we are really bogged down, is what I would call it. We are not criticizing the system. We want to be automated. We feel like it's the best chance we've ever had at DSS of becoming automated. But with that has come some growing pains, and there will be some ramifications for the budget. I'm not sure what those will be. I am in tune. I went to Raleigh. I'm listening to everything. I'm checking the director's listserv every single day. I will do the very, very best that I can with the budget. We're going to experience a reduction in child care funding. The most current budget estimates look like we'll lose approximately $51,000 in subsidy monies. We do not know if we will lose Smart Start money yet. This year, we have had to reduce services by terminating before and after care for children 10 to 12 years old. We're going to be putting them back in. Good news is that we received some reversion money, $54,000. We also are getting some money. We pled our case to Smart Start, and we are able to add those 10 to 12-year-olds back on at least through this budget year. So we're real happy about that. But we have not picked up any new children off the waiting list since August of last year. With less money, we'll have less service in our community. We've been told of the potential for a 5% cut in HCCBG funding, congregate meals, Julie?
Meals, in-home aid, level 1, housing and home improvement, and also daycare.
So adult services will be, that will be a hit for us. 5% is a significant for us. We're told to brace ourselves for another TANF cut. I do not have a number or a percentage for you yet, which is really frightening in that we have to turn in our budget in 3 weeks. But we'll stay tuned to that. Last year, we talked a whole lot about losing federal 4E funding for in-home services and child welfare, and then that did happen. We actually budgeted the anticipated cut for 50% of the year, but it actually affected us for 75% of the year, 9 months of the year. Next year, we will budget the cut for the full year. So that's a reduction in funding coming into our child welfare area, a significant reduction. Child support incentives, we worked last year off the actual budget estimates that were sent to us from the division for this year, but we have actually received 50% less incentive monies than our estimates indicated this year.
That'll be
And-
by the end of June. Right
Yes.
now, we've got like a 25%
Yes.
of that half.
So what she's saying is that we haven't even pulled down nearly 50% yet, but we do anticipate by the end of this year it's a little less than 50%, but
We budgeted between 40 and 45,000 of incentive monies for 2012-13. Right now, as of this report, we pulled in around 3,500, and we received a letter within the last 2 or 3 weeks that stated, for our county, we should receive between 19 and 20,000 for the year. So that's between now and June 30th. And so we're not really sure what next year is going to hold for that.
And we got a budget estimate, and it was approximately 30-some thousand. Sherry, but it's more than what we've actually pulled down this year, so I'm just really not, I'm not real trusting of that figure. I think we may go with budgeting the actual amount that we are able to pull down this year for next year versus looking at an estimate and trusting because that estimate was so significantly wrong for this year. Our foster care budget will go up. We have more children in care. We have significantly more children in high-dollar placements. One of the questions that was asked of us last year when we were planning for this year was why would our budget go up if we came in under budget last year? That did get asked of me. We have to budget for children in these high-dollar placements that can cost upward of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 per month. If we do not budget effectively and take into consideration the possibility of us placing children in those high-dollar placements, then when that happens and we go over foster care budget, we'd be in front of the commissioners every time that happened. And we've not experienced that yet. I pray that we will not experience that in the future, but we have tried very hard to budget effectively for foster care. And thankfully so, because we do now, right now in this year, our number of kids in those high-dollar placements has jumped up. Just as an example, we have children ages 4, 7, and 9 in need of PRTF, which is that psychiatric residential treatment facilities. That's the highest level of mental health care. And think about those ages, how young that is. The costs in foster care have increased dramatically this year during the year. We had prepared for that to some extent, and we'll prepare for the next year. We're being charged more filing fees through the clerk of court. We're doing everything we can to collect these fees from our clients if we are able, but have no choice but to pay the fees when we are invoiced, and the budgeting of such is somewhat of a guessing game. We will see an increase in the coming year's salary line. Of course, that will account for the 2.5% increase just recently received by all employees making less than $50,000 per year. That'll be budgeted for the entire year next year, so our salary line will jump up a little bit. Medicaid transportation. We started doing Medicaid transportation. We started a voucher system last year. We would guess that it has doubled our Medicaid transportation spending and reimbursements. We have to effectively verify each trip. The trips are 100% reimbursable to our agency if we're able to do the appropriate paperwork, but we are responsible for the upfront expenditure before claiming that reimbursement. We will be looking to reclassify a couple of positions specifically on the management team that have experienced increased responsibilities and are functioning at the level of a different class position within the Office of State Personnel Classifications. We have had to use a number of part-time people this year
to get us through the year. Those positions were not budgeted, and thankfully, we've been able to get by the last couple of years because of lapsed salaries, primarily. But we're not sure that we'll always be able to get by that way. I would hope that we will not have as much turnover and would not have as much lapsed salary to work with. But I will tell you that we've not budgeted those part-time positions, so we have pulled that out by the hair of our chinny chin chins the last couple of years. And we need, I'm gonna go ahead and let you know this, we need a foster care worker in child welfare. We've got 52 children in care. The caseload size for a foster care worker is 15. We have 3 workers. 15 times 3 is 45. We have 52 children in care. So we are over the mandate for the state standard. We also feel that we need an income maintenance position. I don't know that we'll always need an income maintenance position, but right now we have staff that are working many, many hours. I made myself a comp time watch list this week when I signed time sheets. I have 11 people with over 40 hours of comp time. I have 2 people approaching 100 hours of comp time and 2 with over 100 hours of comp time. And I know that's a problem. It's a management problem. And you would say to me, are you managing that? Well, if we send them home to get rid of that comp time, how will we get the work done? We are not working any hours unnecessarily. These managers will tell you, those people who are carrying those large numbers. One of our workers in child welfare has been to New York. She's been to, where else? Been to New York twice. We have no choice but to take care of the children we're charged with caring for. The adults we're charged with taking care of, getting the benefits out. So, I mean, this is where we are. I talk with the managers constantly about how are we gonna manage that comp time? How can we give them can we rotate Fridays off? What can we do to get that time base down? But in the end, we're most concerned about the people we serve. Another item that will come up in the budget is that we will need scanners in order to be efficient with NC Fast. We have stalled on requesting a document management system for our agency, hoping that NC Fast will provide such in the future, and we still hear that it's within the scope of the program. However, we will not be able to be even minimally efficient without scanners for our staff to be able to scan in the information that clients are bringing in to try to move toward a paperless system. One other thing I wanted to mention was the Golden Leaf proposal. Our agency did submit a proposal. We wrote a grant request for 3 positions, which would include no county match. Were we to be awarded those funds, it would show up in our budget. It would show up as expenditures and revenues. There would not be a county match for that 2 years. We would then look at this and to see how it might be sustainable. And we just were in a mental health meeting this morning and found out about a potential other program that would be able to be matched with some of our dollars to try and look at those positions. But we think those 3 social workers in the school system that would be DSS workers, so they would be under our jurisdiction. They would follow all of our rules and regs, but they would be co-located at the school system. If we're really looking at keeping kids in school and helping them to graduate, we're going after that money. So if it's awarded, that will be in the budget also. As you can see from this 3 pages of things I've brought to you, the DSS budget is a complex critter. And I'm telling you all of this just to help you give some thought to the job before we present you with a proposed budget that you'll have to look over. And then I just wanted to ask you if you would select a date. We would suggest April the 8th at 4 p.m., but if that's not acceptable to you, we will certainly work with you.
That's as good a date as any to pick right now. I don't control my life.
What day of the week is that, Sam?
Monday?
It's a
Monday.
Monday afternoon.
What's, we, this will just be a work session, so we do not.
We will have a we'll have the budget prepared for you and laid out, and we will review with you our recommendation,
Okay.
and then,
We will not need a motion to make this a meeting official because it'll just be a work session, right?
Right.
Huh?
correct.
Am I correct? Right. So April the 8th, we're going
I don't
to,
have my calendar, but I-
together, okay?
At our office.
At your office.
At our office.
That's what we'll do,
Okay.
okay?
And that's all I have. That's enough, isn't it?
Pretty much. Is there any other items from the board members? If not, our next meeting will be April the 16th at 4 o'clock at the CVCC campus. And with that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
You want me to second it too?
Go right ahead, I'll do it.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
All right, I'll do too. All in favor? Aye, we're adjourned.